So, guten Morgen, liebe Freunde, vielen Dank für das Kommen. Ich rede weiter auf Englisch, weil wir haben auch Livestream hier mit diesem Kamera und es gibt schon einige Leute online von verschiedenen Ländern, die kein Deutsch verstehen. Wenn jemand Fragen hat auf Deutsch, ich erkläre gerne nach dem Konzert. So, good morning everyone, good morning our online friends and visitors. Thank you so much for coming to our little Center for Indian Music. We are very happy to be able to continue these sessions. Yesterday we had very nice evening concert, now it's the morning with a different energy. And today is a special concert for us, first of all, because these two concerts are the first our concerts this year in this center, so we kind of celebrate the new year with them. It's a new beginning, but it's also, in a way, the ending, because it's a goodbye concert for both of us, because tomorrow I'm flying to India, to Delhi, and Gerard is flying soon after me, and we will come back end of the winter, so this is the last concert in this center this winter, last chance to hear this music here. So that's why we feel this is special. And I can tell you a few words about our music. The most important, what is good to know about it, that almost everything what you hear will be spontaneously improvised. We didn't prepare any notes or any compositions or something like that. We just create music on the spot as we perform. This is how Indian classical music is performed, and here the composer and the performer is the same person in the same moment, which is a lot of fun, a lot of freedom also, but also quite challenging and can be risky because you have to know what to do every moment. So it's very easy to compare it to language, to speaking. What I speak now, it's also improvised. I didn't prepare any paper or speech. I just, looking at you, feeling your energy, I feel some emotions, some feelings, and I try to express them spontaneously through the language. But I have no idea what I'm going to say exactly in the next minute. And what I told 5 minutes ago, I already forgot exactly, I cannot repeat. So this is how our music is working. We play here and now in the moment, and it's always only one time because we cannot repeat exactly the same again. And same as with the language, improvising is not completely free. It is based on certain rules, which we learn many years, like a language has a grammar, has rules, has certain elements. Same as Indian classical music. And rule number one, the most important which we follow, is called raga. These are the melody forms. There are hundreds of possible ragas. Each raga has a name. It has ascending and descending scale. It has also important notes, and it has some notes which are not allowed. It has typical movements and characters which we learn and try to follow. So this is the format of the melody. And even every raga has a certain time of the day, like we talk about morning ragas, evening ragas, or seasonal ragas. In winter time, there are special ragas, autumn ragas, spring season ragas. So this is the connection of our music to nature. We follow the sun, we follow the seasons of the year with our ragas. So once I choose the raga, I have to stay within that format of the raga. That is my language. But what I actually play, it's up to me. At the moment, I'm improvising. And the rule number two, which we follow always when we play together in the rhythm, this is called tala. This is the rhythm, the rhythmic cycle, like going like a clock in the cycle. And the cycle must have a fixed amount of beats. It can be any amount, but we fix it. We decide from the beginning which tala we choose to improvise together with percussion. And it can be 7 beats, 10 beats, 12, 16, whatever. And these are also all traditional formats, very old formats of Indian music, which we learn. And both of us, when we know them, we can freely express ourselves, but we are still together because this tala keeps us together in time and in rhythm. And we meet on beat number one. You will see today many moments when we kind of developing something spontaneously and coming together to a certain point, landing on a certain beat. So this is the beat number one, the first beat of the cycle of the tala, which is a very interesting way to communicate with music. So having raga and tala, we have the format, and the rest is just freely improvised, and we just express spontaneously whatever we want to share with you, the feelings. And today I will start with the special raga. It's a very special morning raga, special for me because it was composed by my guru, the great Sitar maestro Pandit Ravi Shankar. The raga is called Gangeshwari, and I choose it today because actually yesterday and today in India there is a very big festival which is called Makar Sankranti, and specifically in the place where I live in India, this is Calcutta, they call it Ganga Sagar Mela. This is the festival. It's always this day of the year they celebrate. And the meaning of this festival, Ganga is the river Ganges and Sagar is the ocean. So they celebrate the meeting of the river Ganga and the ocean, and it happens at the delta of the Ganges. This is very close to Calcutta where I stay. And I remember I was always there in this winter time, many, many years. So we see the pilgrims passing through the city, like thousands of them, maybe millions of the orange-dressed sadhus, the monks, who travel south. It's a little bit like 2 hours, 3 hours by car, but they walk to the delta of the Ganges, which is a very holy place. It's the end where this holy river kind of ends its life. And there is one island, which is called Ganga Sagar Island, where this festival happens. So this is happening right now, today and yesterday. And that's why, because the raga name is Gangeshwari, devoted to Riva Ganga, so I choose to start with this raga now. I will play a short introduction, which is called Alap. That is the traditional Indian starting of performance. I will try to show you the colors and the typical movements of this beautiful raga, absolutely 100% improvised without rhythm. And then we will continue with Gerard on tabla to improvise on the rhythmic cycle of 7 beats. Very interesting tala, 7 beats. We divide it into 3, 2, 2. That's the mathematic which goes on in our heart when we improvise. 3, 2, 2. That's the beat, 7 beat. Raga Gangeshwari. So this was a nice short warm-up. Now we will play the next raga, which is a beautiful morning raga called Basant Mukhari. That's the name. And by listening to ragas like this, side by side, one can understand better what is a raga. It's quite difficult to explain. In India, many people will tell what is not raga. Raga is not a scale, it's not a fixed composition, it's not a tune, it's not a song or something fixed. Then the question is, so if it's not this and not that, so what it is? They say, even the name raga itself, the word, the translation is that which colors the mind. So ragas are there to create a certain state of mind. And because Indian music was used for a long, long time before, also for spiritual development, there were no concerts. Music was more like a spiritual path. So they used ragas to create a certain state of mind, like meditation. And each raga has its own color, its own mood. So now you can hear I changed only one note, but completely different color will be Raga Basant Mukhari. And also we will change the rhythm now. I will play again short introduction, and then we will improvise on the tala or rhythmic cycle of 10 beats. It's called Japtal. We divided 2-3-2-3. This is the mathematical format. And then the most popular Indian tala, which is Teen Tal, which is 16 beats. This is very simple to feel for everyone because it's 4-4-4-4, 4 times 4, very symmetric and beautiful tala, Teen Tal. Raga Basant Mukhari. we continue with the next raga, I wanted to tell you just a little bit, few words about this beautiful instrument, which is called sitar. Uh, the sitar is now maybe the most popular Indian instrument in the world, thanks to my teacher who introduced it internationally in the very high level already in the 50s and 60s, 70s, and so many rock bands and famous musicians used sitar in their songs. So it became a trend, and now we know it everywhere. But in India there are a lot of very beautiful instruments, also other string instruments. But sitar is the most famous, that's why I also choose to play it, because that's the only instrument I knew when I came to India first time. And originally sitar comes from Persia, today it's Iran, and even today in Iran there is an instrument which is called Sitar with EH, Sitar. And that's the forefather of the modern Indian sitar. So when Persians came to India around medieval time, they brought their culture, their language, their music and their instruments, and that Persian sitar got mixed with a very ancient Indian instrument which is called veena, and then modern Indian sitar was born. And interestingly, it almost didn't change much since then. Little bit changed, but not so much. So it's really nice construction, already perfect, nothing to change. So that's the history. And about the construction, many people ask what is it made of. So this part is made of pumpkin. This is cubis, vegetable, and this is wood, all made of wood. And often people ask what is this here on top. This is another resonator, like this one, the sound box, which can be removed. It's also empty inside. It's also made of pumpkin or wood. Sometimes this one is from wood. And main idea about this resonator that when I hold the sitar like this, my head is located between two resonators, and I have kind of stereo effect for me, and I can hear different. Yeah? So from this you can understand that sitar was also oriented on not also for musician himself, not only for performing, but also for feeling and listening when you play yourself. Because long time ago Indian music was used a lot for spiritual development, for meditation, and this is in India people do often alone. They go away from the crowd somewhere in the forest in Himalaya and practice. Those who were musicians, they were practicing spiritual discipline with the instrument. So that's why it was important for the player himself to listen to all the fine overtones and timbre of the sitar. That's why, and also there are other instruments who have these two resonators like Rudra, Veena, and that's the reason why it is there. Interesting that on sitar the frets are not fixed. You saw now I was moving some frets. They are bound by ropes from behind, and you can tune them to different scales, to different ways of tuning, which gives a lot of flexible possibilities. And sitar has 7 main strings. These are the 7 big pegs here. These are the strings which I'm actually playing with my hands, and they run across this bridge, this white piece. It's made of horn, deer horn, very hard material, and this is the heart of the sitar, which gives that typical sitar sound, because as you see it's very broad and it is filed with sandpaper in certain way that there is a little gap between the bridge and the string, like a hair, very fine gap. And when the string is vibrating, it will hit the bridge, and we have this buzzing sound which opens the overtones and makes the sound longer, like this typical sitar. See, if I close this gap now with the nail, I press it, you can hear it sounds like guitar. Yeah, just apart from 7 main strings, we have here another little bridge on the second layer. Over it go another 13 resonant strings. These are these little pegs which I'm all the time retuning. There are 13 of them, and they are for resonating. We don't play them directly, maybe just 1 time or 2 times you hear like a harp. I'm playing with the nail. But the main reason why these strings are here is to resonate. We tune them carefully to the notes of our raga, of our scale, and then when I play these notes on the main strings, the resonating strings answer. And it becomes like effect. Like today we have so many digital effects for guitar. This is the same thing created in India hundreds of years ago mechanically. It's like Hall effect, like reverb, you can say in English, which is answering to every note. See, I'm not playing anymore, but you still hear the sound because the string of the resonating string was replying. It's really very unique, amazing construction. So this is the construction of sitar, and a little bit about playing. You see I'm wearing on the index finger this metal plectrum. So we play only with 1 finger and sometimes with the nail of the small finger. And this is very hard, very tight, has to be sitting very properly. So when I play fast and it doesn't move, it's like part of me already. And with the left hand we press like guitar. And what is really interesting and special on sitar that we have a lot of bending of the strings, which you saw already now what I did. You see a lot of space here below the main string so that we can bend the strings and to produce this typical sliding round movements between the notes, because it's very important for us to copy vocal, to copy singing, because Indian music is so old, maybe few thousand years. That time there were no sitars, they didn't know how to make it, but they were singing. So all the foundation and the soul of our music is vocal. And during the time, later when they constructed instruments, they made sure that it's possible to make these sliding movements, either sliding like this, and on sitar we pull, so that we can copy human voice singing, and also some sounds of nature, like animal voices or birds or wind is also water sound. So most of these sounds are waves, like round. They are not steps like piano. So when we use the bending, it resembles us of the natural sounds of natural voices, and that can touch every heart in all over the world, because nature is everywhere. So this is the unique thing about pulling. That much is about sitar. And now I'll play another raga, which is a late morning raga called Todi. It's also very ancient, very old raga, very oriental scale, spicy. And I'll play a short introduction, then we will improvise with Gerard on again on the most popular rhythmic cycle of 16 beats. We call it tintal, in the slow and medium tempo, very natural, easy flowing tala, 4-4-4-4. And the ending will be in another interesting tala, which is ektal. This is 12 beats in the fast tempo, and that will be the culmination. So 16 beat, 12 beat, raga Todi. now one more very short last piece. But maybe before that we can ask Gerard to tell a few words about tabla. Gerard is playing tabla more than 30 years and I'm very happy to be his colleague and his friend. We play here in Austria already 20 years together and he's very educated in this music. So maybe you can tell a few words.
Yes, just short few words. As you can see, tabla is always existing of two drums. It's never played a single drum, so it's always a pair. You have the left-hand drum, which is called baya. Baya means left, which is made of copper. But it's, as you can see, it doesn't look like copper, so there is some
coating.
Some coating, yeah, nickel. The specialty and the right-hand drum, the dayan, also called dayan, is made out of wood. This was also made like in before, also out of a clay pot. But the metal pot is better for daily life because it doesn't break so easy. The specialty of the instrument is for sure, in comparison to other drums, the kind of sound it produces, the sound quality. And this is specially made by this construction of this symmetric GI, it's called, this black dot in the middle of the drum. This divides the skin into three parts: Kinar, Sur, and GI, or you can say the edge, the middle, and the GI, the center. So this also has different sounds. Then we have also this kind of sounds, this kind of sounds, this kind of sounds. So there are several sounds, you can say, and together combined either with bass or not bass, you come up to approximately, let's say, 16 different sounds, all these combinations with bass and not bass. So for all these sounds we have corresponding syllables, which we call bols. Bolna means to speak in Hindi. And these syllables, they are onomatopoetic, laut, nachahmend. So if I say something like Tagena, Tagedinna, Tagena, Tagetinna, Gena. So it's somehow corresponding the balls with the syllables. Ta, ti, ta, titikite, taka, titikite. Ta, ti, ta, tirikite, taka, tirikite. Ta, tirikite, ta, tirikite, ta, tirikite. So it's somehow corresponding with the balls and the sounds. Yeah, there is, the origin of the instrument is not clear known. For sure it's existing about 500 years, but the instrument, you can say, is not very old, but the repertoire is much older, because there are many kind of compositions or patterns they are taking over from other drums, like Nagara, or the drum which was very popular before was the Pakawaj. So we took over the repertoire of other drums. So the repertoire of the tabla is very, very old. And yeah, it has this is the instrument. The tal system itself is quite complex. I would say the big difference to our rhythmic system is one thing, it can be very, very slow, as you have seen now. We have played like Tindar, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this goes up until 16. So this is a very long period, which it's not in our present time. No, we cannot grasp it in once. So if you don't the tala, usually you cannot follow it if you don't know the structure. When we play fast, one can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is shorter, and we can we can follow emotionally the cycle of the beat. So in this very slow tempo, this is something very special, which we will usually not find in this way in the Western music. Yeah, let's play.
Yes.
I also lost my
Thank
voice.
you. Want some water? Shall I get? Just
Yeah,
a moment.
I can take.
Short break. Oh, you know.
Yeah.
I also wanted to add about tabla because I also love tabla and I practice some time. To understand tabla player, if I want to play together, the best way is to learn tabla yourself. That's why in India every musician can play tabla with their own hands. I'm not as good as Gerard, but I can also play. And what is really interesting, another interesting point, that this drum is also tunable. What you see he's doing between every raga, he has there a little hammer and he's tuning the right drum to the main note of my instrument. This is now D in European notes, so this tabla is tuned to D. It means that it also has a melody part, not only percussion but also a note, a melody, like a musical note. And with the left drum he is also changing the pitch, that bass, by the pressure of the hand, of the wrist and movement, he can change the tone and the pitch of the left, so it becomes almost like a bass guitar, you know, like a contrabass, like double bass, which is really musical. So additionally to percussion, tabla has a lot of melody parts in it. That's why now it's most popular instrument in North India for accompaniment of any classical music. It's always tabla.
It's actually the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the South Indian, in the classical music, they have quite a set of different drums, but in North India, it's
Right.
only tabla.
Tabla.
And of course, just to add, because you were speaking of the sound quality, it has a very long sustain, the drum. So, like this, we can play these slow cycles, left and right. If this would just would be quite boring, no?
Yes.
But with this sustain, which is also a uniqueness of the drum, we can make these big variations in tempo.
Exactly. And this sustain, these are also tunable notes. But I was telling, so together with my music, it's matching, like it becomes like one. That's why since hundreds of years, tabla is there to accompany any instrument in Indian classical music. Amazing world of tabla. So now we will play the last piece for today. This is a short one. Traditionally, in the end of the concert, we play something more light, something more folk, and this is one morning, based on morning raga, which is called Bhairavi, very famous scale in Indian music, and it's called Dhoon. The piece is called Dhoon, like semi-classical, light classical style, and we will use for this style a tala of 6 beats, which is called Dadra. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Is it a Zugabe? Okay, we can play another short one. If you're not tired. We have no problem to play until tomorrow. But I have a flight to India tomorrow. So that's the limit. Thank you very much. I have to talk in the mic so that they also hear me online. So we finish here. Let's keep something for next time. And next time here will be in March. You see the flyers everywhere. So we already fixed 18th, 19th of March. We will continue Saturday, Sunday, evening, morning. It's a beautiful format. I'm very happy that it's possible to play these morning concerts when we can play these beautiful morning ragas. Otherwise, the concerts are always in the evening. So please come in March. And in April again, we will have the birthday of my guru. He would become 103 in April 2023. So every April we make concerts in his memory. And if you are interested to know more information, you can leave your email address on the list. There is a paper at the entrance with your names, so you can write the email address and we have a mailing list. And you can always come here anyway, just to talk. We teach this music here, sitar, tabla, vocal. You can come and learn or just to have a cup of tea. It's the center open for everyone. I also live here on the other side of this house, and you can just call and come and learn and come to know more about this beautiful music. And thank you so much again for coming. Because of you, it's possible to continue. So thank you for your support, and see you again.